Life goes on. Obladi, oblada. Hey, what do you hear? What do you say? My Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Google Plus, your sister's ass, the Pony Express. A very ticked off Vic here. You know what ticks me off? Saying goodbye. I don't mean saying goodbye to a loved one who has just passed on. It's not as bad as that, thank God. I'm not talking about saying goodbye. I'll see you tomorrow, or saying goodbye. I'll see you next week. I'm talking about the end of The Wizard of Oz, saying goodbye. I'm talking about the final episode of MASH, saying goodbye. I'm talking about Bogart and Bergman saying goodbye at the end of Casablanca. I'm talking about a gut-wrenching saying goodbye to a loved one. Let me explain. Me and my wife just came back from dropping my son off at the airport. He visited us for 2 weeks and eventually had to go back home, which is Scotland. Yes, Scotland. Both my kids have been living there for the past 3 years, and they both went there on vacation 3 years ago and fell in love with it and just picked up and moved there. And they both met somebody, and they are happy, they're healthy, and as a parent, that's all you can ask for. As much as my wife and I miss them, and as much as the empty nest syndrome never really goes away, we give them credit for doing what they wanted to do, for following their dreams. Times are changing. I remember growing up, everyone stayed in the same house, the same block, the same neighborhood. Not so today, and we get it. We did have a nice system of visiting each other every few months, but the pandemic put an end to that. So we were blessed that he was able to visit us because he has an American passport. And even if he had to quarantine, he was at our house for over 2 weeks. Saying goodbye is a total 360 from saying hello, unless you're not crazy about the person you're saying hello to. When we picked up my son at the airport 2 weeks ago, it was a whole different feeling. It was a feeling of euphoria, knowing that he was just coming in, just landed, and he'll be here for 2 weeks, and he'll be living with us. But somehow it seems like 2 weeks goes just as fast as the 30 plus years that went by from when I used to hold him in my arms and give him a bottle and rock him to sleep. While he was here, we spent each day doing something together as a family, whether it was going in the pool, watching a movie, or eating home-cooked meals, like when he used to live here. You don't realize how much you miss and love your children until they leave. I truly and honestly take my hat off to military parents. I just don't know how they do it. I wish I could turn back time sometimes, and instead of telling my kids that Daddy has a show, I could have said, what do you want to do today instead? I can't even listen to that song, Cats in the Cradle, without choking up. So, on his last day, everyone was subdued, knowing that the ride to the airport was inevitable. At least it was a night flight, so we did have a nice breakfast and lunch together. My son spent most of the day packing and helping my wife adjust to her new phone. Kids are the best with technology. The car ride to the airport was quiet. The closer we all realized it was time to say goodbye, the more that sick, sour knot tightened in our stomachs. I didn't just want to drop him off, so I parked my car in the short-term parking, and we all went in with him to make sure he checked in okay. The airport was eerily quiet because of the pandemic. And he checked in a matter of minutes. So now is the moment none of us wanted to come. We couldn't go with him past security, obviously, so my wife just grabbed him and hugged him, and she told my son that she loved him, and he told her he loved her, and they were both holding each other and holding back tears. And then it was my turn. I didn't want to cry in front of my wife and son, so I held in the tears as hard as I can, and I hugged my son, and I told him I loved him, and I had a flashback to when he was a baby, and I was holding him in my arms and rocking him to sleep. We watched him go through security and towards his gate. Me and my wife gave him a final wave, and then we both turned around and walked to the exit like two fucking zombies. When we got home, it was just us and the cat. That's the way it is these days. My wife is my best friend. She'll be with me to the end. We're proud that we raised two fine children who turned out to be two amazing adults. And they're both coming back in December, hopefully with their two Scottish companions if the restrictions are lifted. Life goes on. Obla di, obla da. I just don't want to say goodbye again when they leave again. I like saying hello to them and not on FaceTime. Saying goodbye. That's what ticks me off.